In today's video, I want to break down the 5 ways to find winning ads faster. Now, it comes down to a variable of principles, but ultimately, just to give you some context, in order for you to find a winning ad, well, we look at net profit, right? Is that single ad creative generating a profitable front-end CPA? But before you can even do that, there's a lot of work outside of the funnel that you have to fix in order to see that ROI in investment. Too many times I see brands or founders think after 7 days that is enough testing for a single ad creative. When in reality, if we look at the landscape of marketing in itself, there's so many variables to expand on, right? The reason why a creative couldn't work could be that maybe when they go into the site or the actual collection page or landing page, the offer isn't irresistible enough, or it could be the SKU, or it could be these other variables. So if I were to organize this test one by one, here's the exact breakdown. At a very maximum, I am doing all my tests in one single campaign consolidated with DCTs. So for example, let's say I have a creative framework, right? Let's say I'm pushing a static image. Now, I would want 2 additional variations of that single static image with a change in either the headline of that static or the call to action. Now, with these variants, the image is the same, but we're just changing the copy. Now, when I put that inside a DCT with the budget set at the campaign level, if I'm running ads on Meta with this dynamic creative testing and CBO, Meta is allocating budget at the campaign level, so they're spending money on ad sets they deem as best for the end user. So at a very maximum, you have 2 DCTs active, and then you have another ad set to host your post IDs from your creative testing. Now, I'm looking at the spend based off the threshold, based off unit economics. I would probably start off with $100 a day, let that run for anywhere from 5 to 7 days, look at results, and then see, okay, where are my next steps? Now, to calculate and determine if it's a creative issue, I'm looking at soft metrics. I'm looking at, okay, what's our CPC? What's our CPM? What is our click-through rate? And what is the frequency of this? Because ultimately, when it comes to filling the funnel, you might have a creative that's more top of funnel focused where the frequency is below 1.05%, and you might have a CPM at $10. We know, okay, this is creative, might not get a majority of the sales, but it's getting awareness, and I might need to build a secondary creative that's more middle funnel / bottom of the funnel focused. So with creatives, we're trying to find and pinpoint where does Facebook place this creative based off ranking. Is this more top of funnel or is this more bottom of the funnel? And that gives me direction on, okay, what are the next steps? Because if I have a top of funnel creative, now I need to create a bottom of the funnel creative. If I have a good bottom of the funnel creative that's a frequency above 1.5 and a CPM at like $20, I need to find a top of funnel creative that can drive traffic to that bottom of the funnel creative, if that makes sense. Everything is a flywheel system. So too many times I see founders lack the ability of organizing creative testing. That's the first step. If you want to generate winning ads as fast as possible, you need to keep track of what you're testing and what are the results from that test. The next phase is now taking that information and making iterations to either the offer, the creative, or even the post-click experience. The main thing we're optimizing for with creative testing is what is our conversion rate. And if we can't have a decent conversion rate, no matter what creatives we're testing, that is the principle I want to fix first. When you have better conversion rates, you have a better offer, then you're likely to now expand on the creative testing. It really just depends brand on brand. The third step to creative testing is making sure that we create iterations to whatever we test, right? One single creative is not going to be the winner. You have to create variations to that, right? So we organize it like this. You start with the ad angle or whoever we're trying to attract as ideal customer profile. Then we go down a step, and now we're focusing on ultimately, okay, what's the ad copy to that? If it's a static image, is it a GIF? Is it UGC? What specific copy are we using on those? For example, I have one single static, I want 2 other variations, then I can run that as a full concept test. The fourth step to validating winners on the creative front, it really varies, but one creative might get $200 in spend or $300 in spend, and that still might not be profitable. But what we can do is, let's say after a month or 2 months where we've exhausted the creative testing framework, I can also relaunch those same creatives and give it another test or another go once we have our winning set of variables. The reason for this is because I've seen time and time again that you run a creative on January, and that same creative, if you were to relaunch it, you can run it in the next 6 months, and that ends up turning out to be a winner. We have to keep in mind what time of year are we running these ads, what is seasonality, how does that affect the business, and ultimately never ending the amount of loose opportunities we have from the creatives. Because I see too many times where you have founders or you have brands that invest tens of thousands of dollars into creatives they got from agencies, but it feels like they never test those same creatives ever again. So I'm looking at historic data inside the ad account over a 12-month period of what was winning in the past. Why was that single ad creative turned off? Was it unprofitable? Was it an issue with the destination page? Were the soft metrics on par with the ideal data I'm trying to hit or the ideal target CPM I'm trying to hit? And if everything looked good, but for some reason that creative was turned off, I want to give it another chance. I want to relaunch it. The biggest goal here is if your ad account has data, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to start from from scratch. I want to take what you've had in the past that might have worked, and I want to build on those concepts, because either you go up the vertical or you go horizontally. Now this goes into my 5th phase of organizing expansion. If we have something that works, I want to build as many variations of that winner as possible. I want to exhaust as many creatives as possible. But the downside is, if you just solely focus on making iterations to that winner, you're not testing other angles on the back end, that is hurting your business. So the equilibrium of balancing testing and scaling up winners is, you test. If you have something that works, you look to now make further iterations and push and scale heavy. But while you're doing that for one single concept, simultaneously you have other ad concepts or other ideas you're testing, right? So for example, let's say you have a static image, you're testing that single static image, and let's say it's starting to get results, hit target CPA. Now I'm going to make variations of that winning static, whether that be changes in the headline, changes in the copy, changes in the image, and then from there I'm running that separately as a test. Simultaneously I'm building out a whole different concept, right? Even could be a static, could be a GIF, could be UGC, but I'm not testing UGC first. UGC is by far one of the most time-consuming pieces of content to get, and you're not guaranteed to find a winner from UGC or the money you've invested working with a content creator. What works to this day is simplicity. I've scaled ad accounts with just static images or even with GIFs, and I've done ad accounts where, yeah, UGC does help, but there is a time and a place for it. If I'm trying to scale my ad account within a 7-day framework or even a full 30-day framework, I want to get as many tests up as possible. So this is why I always recommend starting with static images, building a proof of concept there, then going a step further, now taking that single concept and putting it into a GIF, and then from there going a step further and now putting that same concept but using UGC as my last point of reference of full exhaustion. And then from there, while that's happening, you have other variable tests going on where you're testing completely different statics. So that is the way on, if I were to find a winning ad and I was trying to do it as fast as humanly possible, that's the approach I would do if my ad account was at $100 a day. Now granted, the more ad spend you have in your ad account, the more you can increase your daily ad budget. With media buying, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can run $50 or $100 a day tests, but to get out of Facebook's learning phase, you need 7 conversions a day. So for example, let's say I start off with $100 a day and I'm getting a target CP at $30. Now I know that in order for me to get to 7 conversions a day, I need $300 based off that math. If it costs me $30, well then I need 7 conversions. I need roughly around whatever 30 times 7 is. That's my ideal budget, anywhere from $250 to $300. Now I hit my target CPA of 7 conversions and that's profitable, and then I can continually just increasing that daily ad budget at scale. But granted, the caveat is when you're starting out, you want to increase your ad budget. You're seeing success and only increase your ad budget by 5% every other day, because the moment you go from $100 to now a $300 daily ad budget, you're throwing off the algorithm completely. So we want a smooth, steady, consistent process when it comes to increasing ad budgets when we do find a winner. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or you have concerns and you want to skip the step where you doing this all by yourself, you can check out scalevelocity.io, where I share and I release my free 30-page protocol on how you can do everything I mentioned more in depth while integrating all of this fully in-house. So feel free to check out my results, my case studies, my testimonials, and how we work. And if you're interested, feel free to book in a call below. I'll see you guys in the next video.